Hello, good morning, lovely people. Welcome to another fresh edition of your favorite morning show on Dominion Television, Daybreak Live. I am Samson Balogun.
And a very good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us on Daybreak Live. I am Pat Aito. So welcome. And of course, today is Friday.
Thank God it's Friday.
Yes, thank God it's Friday. But then there are lots of things that happens on Fridays. And some people like clubbing, some people like going for vigil.
Of course.
So which one would you prefer?
Well, since you are putting it to me, I should say I'll be going for vigil.
Something. We both know that you won't. I know you too well because you're actually accusing Michael of, yes, I saw you where.
He has extracurricular activities he does, on weekends.
What about you?
Well, maybe I prefer to go to church.
Well, I'll leave that to you then.
All right, we'll be discussing something very interesting this morning. And of course, it's an issue that really bothers the mind of so many people. As much as it is interesting to talk about, it is really saddening to talk about it. You go around the street and you realize the fact that you have children who are actually becoming mothers, children nursing children. Then you begin to wonder, how did we get here? It's an issue that is really alarming, and then when you talk about it, you call the attention of the government to it. But then it's not only limited to the government. It is an issue that really needs to be treated from the cradle, from the families, from family houses. What exactly is going on? And then how did we get here? In the case of children becoming mothers.
Are you actually asking how did we get here? This has been happening for a very long time. And I think parents, mothers are not actually looking at it at that very time. I remember when I was in Lagos, there was this, from Shasha to, I don't know if you're familiar with Lagos. Okay, Shasha to Akowojo roundabout. There is a lady sitting close to me inside the bus, and there was this small girl. Looking at that girl should be around 15 or something. And the next thing is she's pregnant. And I was like, the Yoruba of it with oh yeah, mileno. So I was just thinking, what is happening? But the woman is just like, we are actually, hello. She was even making call, like, hello, we are coming from medical. We are, like, now, grandma. And these are the people that you see them have issues with other parts of, other people. And the next thing is, oh, some people are so proud of it. So it's not alarming again. For some people, they say it like, oh,
it's a trend now. It's a trend now. And then I think there are other things we need to be looking at. Do you know, some of these children are actually exposed at a very young age. And then it becomes a problem when it actually boomerangs. Take, for example, a child that is not well trained, or maybe really didn't have that parental care as much as such child should have. And then at a point gets exposed, and then all this happens, gets pregnant. I think they need support at this point rather than being shamed.
Who is going to give that support? I'm only asking. Is it the divorced parents or separation parents? Like, I remember this woman used to talk something. She used to say something. She would tell you, you need to trace it, fix it, and solve the problem.
Solve the problem.
So the problem is not as if it's from the, let me just say, the root of the problem is from the parents. That's the husband and the wife. When you see them, they're like, oh, love me. I would like to speak Yoruba a bit because I know we are in Yoruba, and some of them are like, we. Yes, we'll chip in Yorubas a little bit.
Intermittently.
So now, they will tell you, my oh, love me. The meaning of their love is, one, he takes me out. Yes, I asked them for money. Do you understand? Then the next thing is, you see them get pregnant. And the next thing, I don't know, you are like this. Fight starts coming in. And the next thing, I cannot marry you again.
Who bears the brunt when the parents are separated?
And the other woman will tell you, I'm still young, go. I need to look for. So it takes that spirit of motherhood. Let me just put it that way, to just say, okay, I really want to stand and I really want to defend my child or my children so that they can be successful in life. Some of them don't think about it. We have a lot of baby mamas out there. Some of them, but still they shame me, I cannot come and kill myself.
Well, eventually they will settle for being a single mother when, you know, this has actually happened. But then at the point you also consider the fact that sometimes you relate poverty to this current trend. You know, when you feel like your parents can, you know, as a girl child of 13, 14, 15, and the parents cannot actually provide what they actually need, they tend to look for these things outside. I told someone about parenting. I said parenting of while we were growing up is totally different from what we are seeing now. While we're growing up, your parents might actually tell you, okay, you are requesting for 10 naira, but I don't have 10 naira.
I have 5
Take
naira.
5 naira. But
And
then,
you even appreciate
you
it.
appreciate that 5 naira because
But
they're
not
giving it
this-
to you.
not
These
these
days,
days.
then you will now realize the fact that the economic factor has actually played a major role. That's why we have to call the attention of the government to it. If the environment is safe for people to live, and you know, you have people who are actually displaced from their homes, and then when they get to a new place, and then they become vulnerable, just like you know, the current situation. But then, if the government actually makes the economy so awesome that the people can actually live
afford
whatever
it is they want.
a basic standard of livelihood, I think we have lesser of this issue.
Well, I think so. Everything will always blame government, but it stems from home.
It is time we also take charge and of course take notes and take care of the problem. And on that note, it ends this segment on this show this wonderful morning. We now go on a short break, and when we return, we head straight to our news desk as Sarah Ronke Giwa
Giwa is standing by.
He's waiting, standing by.
All right, good morning.
Good morning. This is Daybreak News on Dominion Television. I'm Ronke Giwa Onafuwa. President Bola Tinubu has hailed Nigerian workers, acknowledging their role in nation building. Tinubu spoke through the Minister of Labour and Employment, Mohammed Maigari Dingyadi, during the celebration of the 2025 Workers' Day at the Eagle Square, Abuja. Tinubu said that his felicitations and gratitude goes to the hardworking men and women of the country, describing them as the backbone of the society whose dedication and resilience drives the engine of the Nigerian economy. He also sent in felicitations to the leadership of the Nigeria Labour Congress, NLC, and the Trade Union Congress of Nigeria, TUC, for their tireless efforts in organizing the May Day celebrations. According to Tinubu, his government recognizes and respects the labor union's contributions in fostering dialogue, promoting workers' rights, and ensuring that the voices of Nigeria's workforce are always heard loud and clear. The Organized Labour Oyo State Chapter have asked for an upward review of the minimum wage to reflect the harsh economic realities facing Nigerians as the country celebrates 2025 May Day celebration. Labour leaders Kayode Martins of the Nigeria Labour Congress, Oyo State Chapter, and Bosun Olabi of the Trade Union Congress, Oyo State Chapter, made this call in Ibadan, the Oyo State capital, and also urged government at all levels and the private sector to implement the minimum wage across all salary scales and cadres, among other demands.
Workers from the formal and the informal sectors in Oyo State celebrated this year's Workers' Day with fanfare and colorful march past. The state governor, Seyi Makinde, represented by his deputy, Adebayo Lawal, appreciated organized labor in the state, assuring the unions of the state government's commitment to address their demands.
But Oyo State, under his leadership, Engineer Seyi Makinde, will continuously strive to make our workers' conditions and welfare better. For as long as we bring to the attention of government any issues that we believe must be resolved, government under his leadership, Seyi Makinde, will attend to such issues and get them resolved as quickly as possible.
Some workers used the occasion to solicit for better working conditions.
As labor movement, we will not relent on the advocacy to restore civility and work assiduously towards returning the country to a place where everyone will have a voice and the voice of everyone will be heard.
I want to enjoy all workers to please make sure all hands are on deck to push Oyo State forward to support the administration of His Excellency Abiodun Oluwaseyi Makinde, who has really set us ahead of other states. But we must maintain that leadership role.
When we are representing the interests of our workers in the state, we make sure that the agitations are being represented very well in terms of the promotion, in terms of the years that are going to spend the service to be meaningful, so that within the shortest time they are going to spend like 35 years, they should leave the service with joy mind.
So we need to find our space. We need to let them know that we are suffering and they need to take good care of us.
Highlight of the celebration was presentation of awards to Best Performing Group at the March Past display. Grace Aino, Dominion News.
The Oyo State government has announced that a sum of 60 million naira is being paid to the state pensioners monthly in a bid to clear their outstanding arrears. The state chairman of Pension Board, Tunji Adekunle, announced this in a statement made available to newsmen by the Commissioner for Information and Orientation, Dotun Oyelade, in Ibadan. He also confirmed that a total number of 22,202 pensioners are currently on the payroll of State Board as of April 2025. Adekunle emphasized that Governor Seyi Makinde's administration remains deeply committed to the welfare of pensioners, stressing that since the administration's inception, pensions have been consistently disbursed on or before the 25th of each month, alongside timely payment of salaries for active workers. The Minister of Works, Senator David Umahi, has said that the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway construction is expected to be completed by January 2026. Umahi made the disclosure during an inspection tour of the highway. Umahi said that the financial promoters of the highway were satisfied with the work progress, quality, method, and every other thing about the project. Now, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission has said it traced funds linked to the failed crypto bridge exchange scheme, popularly known as CBEX, to at least 4 countries. EFCC Chairman Ola Olukoyede disclosed this on a monitored television interview, saying although efforts are underway to recover the stolen funds, full restitution to victims may be impossible. Olukoyede said that several accounts have been blocked and funds frozen, although the amounts cannot be disclosed yet. Edo State Governor Senator Monday Okpebholo has increased the minimum wage for Edo State workers from 70,000 naira to 75,000 naira to further improve their standard of living. Governor Okpebholo made the announcement while delivering his May Day speech at the Samuel Ogbemudia Stadium in Benin City, Edo State. While appreciating the contributions of Edo State workers to the growth and development of the state, the governor said his administration would always seek ways to improve workers' welfare. The chairman of Northeast Governors Forum and Borno State Governor Babagana Umara has expressed concern over the recent resumption of attacks by insurgents across the region. Zulum stated this at the opening of 11th meeting of the forum in Damaturu, Yobe State. Zulum said that the attacks are capable of undermining the successes already recorded in the theater of war. The forum's chair opined that the military should revisit its operational strategy so as to be more effective. And now in business, the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Wale Edun, has chaired a high-level meeting with partners under the Highway Development and Management Initiative, reinforcing the federal government's commitment to unlocking infrastructure investment through long-term private concessions. The session, jointly held with the Minister of Budget and Economic Planning, Senator Abubakar Bagudu, convened concessionaires managing 9 highway projects covering over 900 kilometers with a combined value of 1.5 trillion naira and expected to be delivered under 25-year concession agreements. During the meeting, Edun emphasized that private capital is essential to accelerating development following Nigeria's return to macroeconomic stability with a 3.4% gross domestic product growth in 2024, despite global shocks and reduced oil revenues. He highlighted the successful concession of the Benin-Asaba Highway as proof of concept already underway with support from institutional and global investors. And now talking sports. Chairman of the Nigeria Premier Football League, Honorable Gbenga Elegbeleye, has reaffirmed the league's commitment to delivering on its promises, particularly regarding cash rewards. Elegbeleye confirmed that Remo Stars, champions of the 2024-25 season, will receive a prize of 200 million naira, with a 33.3% increase from the 150 million naira awarded last season. He emphasized the league's upward trajectory to grow geometrically and become more marketable. With this latest payout, the NPFL continues to show commitment to raising the standards and value of Nigerian club football. You can visit our website at www.dominion.org.ng to watch us live and interact with us. You can also follow us across our social media platforms on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube and LinkedIn at Dominion Broadcast, and on X at Dominion Cast. That ends the Daybreak News. I'm Runke Giwa Onafuwa. Good morning.
course, Daybreak News with Ronke Giwa on Nofua on Dominion Television, your channel of choice. Don't forget you can be a part of the conversation by linking up with us on our YouTube channel at Dominion Broadcast. You can also watch us live on our website at dominion.org.ng. Do well to link up with us on all other social media platforms, Instagram, Facebook and TikTok at Dominion Broadcast, and on X it is at Dominioncast. We now take the headlines of the major stories on the pages of the newspaper this morning, and we'll be doing that starting with the Nigerian Tribune. And the major story on the Nigerian Tribune this morning part says FG summons VCs as ICPC probes student loan disbursement. And the writers on this story says ICPC says NELFund disbursed only 44.2 billion naira out of 203.8 billion naira received to 293,178 students in 299 institutions. And of course, NELFund reacted. And you find that story on page 5 of the Nigerian Tribune this morning. This story has refused to leave on the front page of the newspaper the last few days. And that's talking about some malpractices on the path of NELFund, and then how the money was distributed, and then there are questions as regards there were some deductions, not on the part of NELFund. NELFund disbursed, but then who are the people who, you know, made these deductions, and then what exactly happened to the money? And
so that question has to do with who is who.
Who is who?
Who is fooling who?
And then who is making the deductions? I think ICPC has a lot to do on this. It is time that we actually, you know, unveil the faces of people who actually commit these atrocities in our institutions in Nigeria, the MDAs, all the parastatals.
Then the question I'll ask you is, have you ever seen anyone, or maybe they've shown you faces of people behind any atrocities or mismanagement or embezzlement of funds in this country?
Well, that takes us back to the issue of fuel subsidy in Nigeria. There was a time they said there is a list of people who are actually benefiting and milking the Nigerian economy, and they will publish them. And up till today, we are yet to see the list. We are still waiting.
To bring the newspaper. We are yet to see the newspaper that will be boots
to print the names.
Yes.
Okay, let me just ask these questions. Are these newspapers been furnished with the right set of information? That's the question. If they actually pushed these this list to probably Nigerian Tribune, I'm sure we are going to see the list on the paper. But then looks like something is happening somewhere, and someone is not ready to actually release the list. So away from there, we'll take another story this morning.
All right, this one is still coming. May Day. Labour rejects tax reform bills, wants retirement age to be 65 years, and beneath it we have governors, others, hails workers and celebration. So now the question is, you're rejecting tax from bills, and how would you want retirement age to be 65?
You know, actually, as at yesterday, they made, after the press release, they made 3 requests, and that's actually one of them. Look, we want more money. And then I spoke about wanting more money. There are still states that cannot afford. Let me not say that cannot afford, because since the removal of fuel subsidy, they have actually gotten more money from the government. So meaning that the states are richer as we speak. So it's not about being able to afford to pay. It's about having the zeal, the willpower to pay. Are these states really willing to pay? As of yesterday, those states increased the minimum wage to 75,000 naira. So these are states that are willing to do.
Oyo State said 80,000.
80,000 naira. And I talk about Lagos State, even before the increment of the minimum wage, they actually did on their part. And it's more or less like it's more or less like Nigeria actually moved to be at par with Lagos State. So Lagos State happened to be a country on its own as at the time. But then the question is...
That's small London.
That's small London in Nigeria. But then the question is, if they are making this request, how will they get it from the government? Don't forget, they have always resorted to industrial action to get things from the government. And then on the part of the government, must it always come down to industrial action before you actually know that people actually need this? Away from there, this morning, we take another story. Nigerians react to new SMS transaction fee amid growing discontent over banking charges. That's on page 6 of the Nigerian Tribune this morning. Hardship on hardship, now 6 naira. Call cards are no more expensive, and then to get data for your phone, which an average Nigerian will say, I'm still alive.
If you get the data, before you know it, close your eyes, open it.
It's gone. I mean, you know, there's a trend in Nigeria. I don't know if you have noticed it. When there is an increase, the price will increase. The content will reduce. So who is actually, you know, bearing the brunt of the economic hardship? It's still the people.
It's we the people. All right, so away from that, well, I am not quitting PDP at Delegate tells Osun Stakeholders Forum. That has been on and on. I think that was in Delta when all of them, the governor,
cabinet,
moved to
ex-governor
APC.
too.
And the question I begin to ask is why? Why now?
Well, the electioneering period is around the corner. You know, once they spend 2 years in office, they are preparing for the next 4 years. So it means that if it is politics in Nigeria, it is politics, and they have to start early. If you want to capture the mind of the people, capture the mind of fellow politicians, you start early. Because this is the time where when negotiations are being made, offers are being thrown on the table, and then if you have something to bring to the table, you actually sit on the table. And as someone would say, Nigerians, when it comes to siphoning money, when it comes to politics, when it comes to actually being at the corridor of power, Nigerians actually have table manners. They know how to maintain decorum on the table.
But the question I want to ask is this: at the detriment of your people, you want to get an offer that you know that your people are actually will be suffering?
Well, let me talk on that. It's not just about politicians alone. Nigerians are also complicit to this particular shameful act. Why I said that is because as an average Nigerian who voted during an election, the question is, how much are you giving me before I vote? So the moment you do that, a person who actually bought your vote does not owe you anything. So whatever you have gotten during the election, whether it is 1,000, 20,000 or 30,000, depending on where and when, it means that that's all you get for the next 4 years. And then you begin to question the government. Anyone who actually sold his or her vote during the election has no moral ground to ask for the government for roads, water, or electricity, because that's all you get for. But then people who actually didn't will also bear the brunt of these malpractices and maladministration we are seeing here and there.
Which way, Nigeria?
Which way, Nigeria? All right, let me take this one. Umai issues a stop work order on Shagamu Ikperu Road. That's on page 27 of the Nigerian Tribune this morning. Okay, why exactly is the Minister of Works saying
David Umai
stop work? Well, if you get to the body of the story, pick a copy of the Nigerian Tribune. You'll find that story there. And then there's another one there on the lower third of the Nigerian Tribune.
That's phase 1 Lagos Calabar Coastal Highway, 70% completed, delivery January 2026, and that's on page 24.
Congratulations to people on the coastal highway.
Which one is congratulations? You are part of us.
Of course, you know, one of the things that makes things easy for people is interconnectivity. You know, if roads are connected, not just connected, if they are in good condition. Yeah, so it means that cost of food will also reduce, because most of the times you see goods being carried around that route, transported around the route. So it means that Nigerians should also be happy that something like this is happening. You could remember when this connectivity of states and regions with trains also started. At least people who actually travel through that route are happy now. I know of a person who actually works in Lagos, lives in Ibadan, goes there every morning, comes back in the evening.
Train.
So that makes it a lot easier for him to travel. All right, so let's take this one. National Political Summit, NSPG, inaugurates Daniel Tambuwa Awolowo Dosumu, others as coordinating committee members. You'll find the story on page 2. And the writers on this story, Anyauku calls for functional constitution. Summits mission urgent country future stability. All right, that's coming from Tambuwa. Nigeria must commit to reforms that deepens democracy. That's coming from Daniel. We must adopt true federal constitution. 1999 constitution, a challenge. Awolowo Dosumu. I think so many people have actually talked about the 1999 Constitution.
And some people will tell you that 1999 Constitution, do you think it's a constitution or a review of the decree by the military?
That's, I've actually spoke to someone, a legal luminary, who said Nigeria needs a complete overhaul of their constitution. It's a constitution made by the whites, passed down to us in Nigeria, and then the only thing we did is to just continue amending. And don't forget, even as of now, we still find that very difficult to believe that most of the times you see some ideas being piloted in Nigeria when it's actually worked in other countries. Why don't you create, you know, I mean...
And that was why we have Confab,
and then till now, they still where it is, in the drawer. So no one has, none of the presidents who actually has been at the corridor of power since then has actually put it to use. Goodluck Ebele Jonathan was in government when that happened, and then
a lot of money was spent on
that confab. So many people were invited. Nigerians who actually know exactly what it means to be a Nigerian actually were there. They had a lot of contributions. It was packaged. Goodluck Jonathan didn't put it to use, and President Muhammadu Buhari also at the time didn't. And then we have another president from the southwestern part of Nigeria, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. I do hope that before he finishes his first 4 years, probably he might have a rethink on the national confab.
Amen. All right, away from Nigerian Tribune to New Telegraph, we have this headline: Insecurity. Nigeria may push for ECOWAS protocol on transhumans review. That's investigation. It's on page 4, 5, and 26. And a rider there says, move to deny foreign terrorists entry into Nigeria, and Northeast governors to adopt multi-dimensional approach to tackle insurgency. Then we have Catholic priests protest insecurity in Imo.
Okay, this headline is actually a very interesting one, judging by the current...
It talks about security.
Yeah, judging by the current spate of, attacks we have seen in Plateau, Benue, some parts of Kogi,
Yobe, and Zamfara
to an extent, and then Borno too. It's been really a very serious one in those parts of the country, especially the northeast. And then you have questions. These people are being displaced. They are losing their communities to bandits, insurgencies in recent times. And then the question is, they are being moved to IDPs. How well are they faring in the IDP camps?
Well, I listened to the Minister for Humanitarian Affairs yesterday. That's Dr. Sununu. I've forgotten his first name. He was saying that everything is fine, that the IDP camp, they're really built for them. That was under construction during Buhari's tenure. They're almost completing it this year, and that they are well fed. And once they see that it's a need for them to leave where they are because they are being under attack, they may move them to the IDPs that are fine and everything. And government is actually pumping money into that. How well is that?
Well, the question now,
how true is that?
The question now that we should ask the government is, instead of pumping billions of naira into building IDP camps,
why don't you
spend that money into security? Let these people stay in their homes.
They didn't have their lives.
All right, away from there, this morning we'll take another headline on the New Telegraph, and that story says, Mayday, Labour asks FG to address systemic failures, insecurity, others. You find that story on page 3, page 4, page 6, and page 27 of the New Telegraph this morning. And then we have this rider that says demands immediate salary review, suspension of emergency rule in Rivers State. And then you have this one, Tinubu pledges to cushion economic hardship. Abbas, governors, others, ill workers. LP calls for unity, political action. All right, that's what you have on that story about Mayday on the New Telegraph this morning.
Well, the question there is, for how long would labor unions keep on asking for salary review?
I think the only reason...
Because if you do ask for salary review this year, you ask next year, you ask years to come, don't you think that will not be enough? Even if they're paying you 70,000 naira, cost of living is high. high.
That's the problem. If the economy is not stable,
why don't you just tell government, see, whatever it is,
stabilize the economy? If the economy is not stable,
fine.
we'll continue to have this. The inflation rate has grown beyond expectation in recent years, and you begin to ask questions. What exactly is happening? But then, I do not actually blame the federal government for what is happening, because oftentimes people do not listen to manifestos when the electioneering period is going on. All these were stated. We are going to remove fuel subsidy. Yes, it was there. And then they said they were going to slow down the economy. Yes, it is happening. And then we are going to reduce the spending power. Hasn't it been reduced? So all these three were actually in the manifesto, and nobody actually, well, maybe some people noticed, but too many people really did not understand what exactly we were saying. Maybe next time, while having the electioneering campaign and the likes,
okay.
Even if you have talking points, please explain deeply for people to understand exactly what you mean by these things. All right?
Well, there's another one,
Okay.
the rider there that says emergency in Rivers.
Rule in Rivers
I am actually asking a question which I would like to ask the Labour leaders. Is it in the purview to look into that?
Well, I think as long as they have labor unions, and in Rivers State they have the NLC, they have the 2UC. I think they still have a say in one way or the other, because they are directly involved with the government. They deal with the government, and I think they feel it will be a lot more easier if they actually have these conversations with the governor, democratically elected governor, and not an administrator. You know, an administrator will be there for 6 months, and then probably the person might decide to extend. But as of now, there will be no continuity in any form of conversation they have with him. Meaning someone else will come and say, look, whatever it is you discuss with IBAS, it is not working for me. I am the governor, and this is what I want to do. So that's it.
All right, away from that, we have this on page 2 of Telegraph. National Rebirth, Ayoko, others launch drive for new constitution, say 1999 as... really, there needs to be amendment. Can't save Nigeria. I mean, 1999 charter as amended can't save Nigeria well. We've talked about that. Yes, we need to review our constitution. It is not about the 1999 as amended. Every law that you read now, you see them as amended, as amended. We need to have our own constitution. Let's go back and review. A
constitution for Nigerians.
A constitution for Nigeria that will know that all of us, all the tribes, all the ethnic groups in Nigeria actually stay together to make that constitution. And that was why we have confab. So we need to revisit that.
All right, before we go on this segment of the show this morning, let's take this particular one. On this day newspaper, Nigeria risks perpetual economic stagnation without reliable power. Additional ones calls for bold reforms in infrastructure, industrialization, and governance. You'll find that story on the upper third of this day newspaper this morning.
Well, that's... but I don't know why additional is saying this without reliable power. We have power now. Minister of Power said at least we can now burst off. Would I say for 14 hours or so? He said we now have power, stable electricity in Nigeria. Do you have electricity in your house?
That's the question. Do you have electricity in your house?
Is it up to 14 hours? And because of let's have 14 hours, let's have 18 hours, let's have 16 hours. That's why we have band A, B, C, till Z. And now, can you boast of having...
I can sure say I do not have that electricity. So, for you, I don't know. Probably you have 24 hours in your area.
You know, I stay in Aso Rock.
Even Aso Rock are trying to do solar panels. So, it means that they probably, in the next few months, might be relying on the sun for electricity. So, as a Nigerian, be prepared. All right, away from that this morning, let's take the very last story, and then you can take that story on this day.
On this day, yeah. May Oil post steps says the monthly fall since 2021. Dangote says okay with Trump's tariff on urea, and a lots of riders underneath. Well, I don't know why wouldn't Dangote be okay with Trump's tariff.
You know, it affects his business. Don't forget, he's also into exportation and importation of materials too. So if the tariff is affecting business owners, Dangote is sure one of the ones who are most hit at this time. So basically,
well, let me do this. I think I'm saying this from this day before we go. In May's speech, Tinubu pledges to address high living costs, fight corruption. Hope to see that.
Really?
Soon.
Okay, we hope to see that soon. And then we have to see the effect of this address on goods on the street. So if in the market prices are dropping, then we will know exactly. Because sometimes you see the MBS releasing statistics and you begin to wonder, is this the same market that I go to on a daily basis? I'm not seeing the effect.
If you want to buy something, if you go there this morning and they say it's 50 naira, quickly
go in the afternoon.
Quickly take it, because when you go in the afternoon, it will be 100 naira.
You can wait till evening too.
Evening, that will be 500.
All right, let me take this business story and we'll call it a day on this segment of the show this morning. How investors can tap Nigeria's planned tax credits. You'll find that story on Business Day newspaper. And with that, we wrap up this segment of the show. Okay, let's take more stories. One more before we go, and that's a business story. Labour to FG. Fix economy, security to ease Nigerians' plight. I think that is one of the issues we have had recently and we have always discussed. Because there was a story that talked about power. And then you begin to wonder, most Nigerians really do not need too much. They want power. You see people who actually, a welder, for example, cannot afford, most of the jobs they get these days, they cannot afford to buy diesel to fix them, meaning that they need electricity. And then when you look at the cost of paying for electricity and then what it costs to actually also buy diesel, if you compare and juxtapose, you will realize the fact that it is a lot safer for you to actually pay for electricity than buy diesel. Because a liter of diesel now, God knows how much, well, you know that it is so expensive. And then when you check the price of electricity, even if you are on band A and you are fully, using electricity, you realize an average Nigerian who has a family, has a generator, probably buys petrol of maybe 3,000 and 3 liters, around 3,000 naira every day. Okay, let's spend 4 or 5 hours on generator.
And do you realize that 3 liters will not even go anywhere?
It will not go anywhere, but I'm saying an average, at least at the very least, you get 3 liters of petrol and maybe 4 or 5 hours of, electricity, or maybe 3, and then you are okay for the night, and then tomorrow you go again. If you multiply 3,000 naira times 30, you realize that's a lot of money. You will not spend that on electricity, even if you are having 24 hours electricity, meaning that it's a lot safer to pay for electricity.
But I won't buy the idea, because electricity, there is high tariff too.
But if you still, even if the tariff as high as it is, you still cannot compare what you get when you use the IBADC, EKDC, whatever, if you use electricity on their end and what you get from a generator. There are so many things you will do while you are on the national grid that you cannot do while using your generator. Yeah. Take for example, most people will not iron their clothes while using the generator. They will not do it. Most people will not put their chest freezer, they will not put their fridge on their generator. Meaning that even as expensive as it is, there are still some things you cannot do. So it means that it is a lot safer if you use, if you are connected to the grid.
All right, blueprints now. We have this. Well, this is Nigeria to Tinubu. That's a big headline there. You are the engine of our economy, secretary to nation's growth. That's President Bola Ahmed Tinubu saying that. Away from that, we have
Are they being treated that way?
Huh?
Are they being treated that way? Like they are the engine?
I'm asking now. I'm mostly saying because
every Nigerian worker deserves the best. I mean, if you work, no employer should say you as they are doing you a favor.
Workers, there are some that are lazy.
Well, but then if you check the percentage, you'll still be able to look away in one way or the other.
Look away.
Yeah,
70%.
That's why you have to
people that are actually working day
and night,
day out.
I think that is a way that's exactly why you have to do these accreditations they do in ministries, parastatals at every point in time. If you are no longer working with them, I think there's no point being on the payroll. And then the idea now is that some people have actually traveled out of the country, but they are still on the payroll of the civil service. That is, no, I mean, such set of people should be prosecuted, because if they get to, in fact, Interpol should work with the federal government to bring such people back to Nigeria.
It's always good to like say, okay, Interpol, this should work with them, but at the end of the whole thing, do we get what we want?
Well, I think as it stands now, there's usually a Yoruba saying that when you are walking, maybe a piece of glass actually pinches you in your foot. What you have to do is to sit, fix it before you start moving. But then in Nigeria, most of the times we want quick fixes. But then these quick fixes we get, do they really actually fix our problems, or they create more problems for Nigerians? So that's a major question that we have to ask ourselves, because most times Nigerians are also complicit to this major issue. All right, away from there this morning, we'll take another story on the blueprint. Northeast governors urge United Front against Boko Haram resurgence upon regional cooperation, irrigation, agriculture, SMEs. You'll find that story on the Blueprint newspaper this morning.
Well, away from that, this is actually, well, Naira strengthens to 1,600 per dollar on CBN's intervention.
Well, a few months ago, it strengthened to about 1,400, and then it still go back to 1,600 plus. So that's what we are saying about stability. Imagine you bought goods for at the rate of 1,600. I mean 1,400, and then you want to actually buy again, and then they say 1,600. You begin to wonder, how do I tell a customer that already deposited and said, okay, supply me this? How do you tell them, oh, the price has increased? You know, some of the Nigerian business women now, most of them do not really have goods in their shops. Stores. They do drop shipping. So once they have an order, they just tell you, oh, we'll bring it, and then once you pay, they go and buy from someone who actually has, and then send to you. Imagine someone who already got paid, and then all of a sudden the price has changed. What do you tell your customer? All right, away from that, we'll take another story this morning. And still on major stories on the pages of the newspaper, we'll take stories from the Leadership newspaper. Okay. Mayday, I'll address your challenges, Tinubu assures workers. It's on page 4. And we have riders that says Labour presents 20-point demand to FG. Want Rivers emergency rule reversed. Workers are our backbone. Governors.
That's coming from governors.
But then 20 points, that's a lot. I've always said that even as a politician, there's no point coming with 15, 13 points agenda. If you have 2 and you know you are going to fix those 2, why not stick with the 2 or maybe 3? But then if you have too many agendas, you realize the fact that by the end of 4 years, you have not done anything. And people will complain. And the only reason that you can leave a legacy as a politician who has been democratically elected into an office is to leave something behind that people will always talk about. Oh, during so-so person's regime, oh, he fixed this.
Because I remember during late Yar'Adua, there was like, petrol from this amount to 65
naira per litre.
And everybody they were talking about him. And even till now, some people was like, if it happens to, how I wish Yar'Adua can come back as, Yar'Adua has gone now.
I think I read an article that said, Umar Musa Yar'Adua, the president Nigeria had, but never had. That was the article I read. And I wanted to know exactly what happened. So I went into the story. It was like, it started off so well. But then, at a point when Nigerians were beginning to enjoy what it brought for them, that was when
that took him away. Away from that, we're still on leadership, and we have ICPC probes 159.6 billion naira uncounted student loan.
Right, away from there this morning. Pay minimum wage. Wike urges area council chairman. That's on page 6 of the Leadership newspaper this morning, and that's coming from the FCT. Right. You take another headline?
Well, we have no more headlines like that, but then FBI, DEA seek for more time for Tinubu's probe records release.
This headline has always been in the, I mean, during the election period, the last election, it came up. And there were issues like, okay, release the record, this or that. And since then, the record has still not been released. And then all of a sudden, when the election is also around the corner, you know, even if it is barely 2 years into the administration,
we're still waiting for the record to be released.
Waiting for the record to be released. So we just hope that someday Nigerians will have closure. Nigerians will have closure, and they will get to see the record eventually. All right, let me take this one. Northeast governors decry terrorist attack. Poverty. That's on page 7. Is it, I mean, whose fault is it that poverty is, you know, prevalent in that part of the country?
Well, it's the governor. I'll say the governors.
Because you begin to wonder that...
if we have put things in place, these people, I mean, the terrorists won't attack people you're actually governing. And do not forget that these governors, they actually used some of them.
Wow.
I really don't have facts, but then during election, you see some of them will tell you, oh, work for me, this, you give them a whole lot of things, and at the end of the whole thing, you do not fulfill those promises. And they go against your government. That's how this
actually started.
Started with this.
I think the other thing that I also noticed is the fact that education in that part of the country is not being taken seriously. You begin to, because when you look at Boko Haram, it means that Western education is haram, meaning you should not have education, but then Arabic education is key. Well, it's good. I mean, in some part of the south, in most part of the southwest, I mean, in the southwest,
you need to balance
you have to balance it. You see Muslims who actually have Western education and still send their children compulsorily to study Arabic education, meaning those two can actually work together. But then there's no point you saying Western education, because one of the things it does for you, education does for you, is that it enlightens you, broadens your horizon, you know, makes you more aware of things around you, because there's nothing you can do if you don't know anything. And knowledge, they say, is power.
Well, another thing I think about that name, Boko Haram, could have been maybe they feel like, okay, this man is learned enough, and whatever he says, he keeps to his promise. And now he did not. And that's, they say like, oh, like some people will tell you education is scam. It's scam. But I always tell them education is not scam.
It's not. I have some people who actually have never worked with their certificates, but as it stands, they are actually using that certificate because the knowledge they garnered while studying is still effective till today. It has actually broadened their horizon and it's working for them. And on that note, we end this segment of the show this morning. It has been a wonderful session with you all. Keep it locked on this dial, and don't forget to be a part of the conversation by dropping your comment on our YouTube channel at Dominion Broadcast. You can also do that watching us live on our website at dominion.org.ng, at dominion.org.ng. And also do well to link up with us on all other social media platforms. Like, follow, and subscribe to those channels: Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at Dominion Broadcast, and on X, formerly Twitter, at Dominion Cast. We now head to a short break. And then when we return, we head straight into analysis. Don't forget, this is the station where we bring you unbiased analysis and undiluted reportage. Keep it locked. We'll be back. short break. Don't forget, the show is still Daybreak Live on Dominion Television, your channel of choice, where inspiration meets entertainment. Don't forget you can be a part of the conversation by linking up with us on all social media platforms. YouTube, subscribe to our channel, watch us live, and drop your comment. It is at Dominion Broadcast. And on our website at dominion.org.ng, at dominion.org.ng. Link up with us on all other social media platforms, like, subscribe, and then follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at Dominion Broadcast, and on X, formerly Twitter, at Dominion Cast. We now head straight to the analysis segment this morning, and we have a seasoned public affairs analyst with us in the studio, Afolabi. With him, we'll be doing justice to the major stories on the pages of the newspaper. But before then, we'll talk about the topic we discussed during our chit-chat, which is teenage pregnancy becoming prevalent in Nigeria, especially this part of the country, and of course the north. Afolabi, good to have you in the studio this morning.
Sir. Good morning, very good to be here again. Good morning, Nigeria. It's good to be here on this board again.
So the question here is, why is teenage pregnancy so prevalent in our community?
What a good topic to start with this morning. I want to say that it is not new in our own country, Nigeria, to have a teenage pregnancy. You know, in the olden days when our parents were not that educated, their parents, their fathers or mothers felt that at a point where you grow a child, you go straight to deliver the child into a man, that they felt that would take charge of the man, especially when religion now come in and said that the first menstruation a lady will do, the cycle is to be done in the husband's house, and they felt that that alone will give guide to such lady, also nurture her and protect her as it may be, depending on the education then. But right now we ought to have left that age. It's a stone age where things are done in those days. But right now, it's an open age where we should know better. Where a teenager need to acquire the right knowledge, the harmful kind of understanding about herself, her person. Not just to be in the kitchen, but also to be responsible and responsive to his community, the parent, the family, and also the country where she or she belongs. So this has been the kind of the gap that many of our present day are still suffering from. We don't want to say teenage pregnancy is even to the uneducated alone. We are already seeing that even in the most educated ones, you know, the exposure to internet facilities has given back to many of our ladies, our ladies seeing what is being done, you know, and copying such without mindful of the harm within it. And then the very danger of it is the stress on parents. Our parents these days are more of work than of the home front, taking care of the child, looking after them. Some parents have never even visited their ward in their school, the primary or the secondary school, let alone going to their institution to see how far this lady is doing. Even the ones in the boarding schools. Even the ones in the boarding schools. We've seen video of students in the boarding school showing us a kind of activities they do perform there. You know, bringing out their nude pictures, engaging themselves in so many shots. There was a lady I interviewed that told me that with ordinary fork, knife, and some little things they can abort pregnancies. And I was very shocked. And I asked her, is anybody aware of this? And said, some people do that and they go scot-free. And such lady will also be waiting for to grow old to be a mother. So these are the areas where I felt that it has shocked the parents of nowadays. The economic situation, the lackadaisical attitude of the parent of the government in providing the adequate education and facilities within our communities and our schools has given rise to the return back to teenage pregnancy, which we felt it has been cancelled. All right, let me take the stance of the World Health Organization on teenage pregnancy. Okay. All right, adolescent pregnancy is a significant concern due to its health, social, and economic consequences. Yes. Complications from pregnancy and childbirth are among the leading causes of death
for girls aged 15 to 19 years globally. Infants born to adolescent mothers also face higher risks, including increased chances of stillbirth and low birth weight.
Sure.
Now, in April 2025, World Health Organization released new guidelines aimed at preventing adolescent pregnancies and improving girls' health. And then they talked about the key strategies, which I want you to talk about this morning. Ending child marriage, which is 1, extending girls' education, 2, improving access to sexual and reproductive health services. These are things that are actually lacking in Nigeria. In some part of the country,
yes,
child marriage is becoming a thing now. It's becoming a trend. It's a norm.
It's a norm.
I don't think you can say anything.
They don't say anything wrong in it.
They don't say anything wrong, and I don't think you can say anything to any one of them that will make them change their mind at this time.
That will be meaningful to them.
That will be meaningful to them. And then, when you talk about extending girl child's education, do you mean that a girl child will have to spend more time in school than that? Then what they actually said about that is keeping girls in school reduces the likelihood of early pregnancies. But then we have seen girls who are in school who still got pregnant.
Let's start from that of the early marriage. Okay. We have seen it. So in this country, in the part of this country, we are even a senator pick up a 14-year-old girl.
Yes. It was in the news then.
And it was, and the senator was accused, and he ended up defending himself, giving reasons for that. And if those who are at the point of making laws for us to prevent our future, guide our teenagers, and give them a kind of education which will build a good country for us tomorrow, end up marrying a teenager. You know, in those days, in those areas, they don't say anything wrong. And until they see that, we may not get out of it. 2, when we talk about education, I still want to maintain my stand by saying that it is not extending the education that matters. It is the facility, the guide, the security. I have a girl child. She's in SS3 right now, and in their school they have a boarding school. Okay. So I personally did not want to don't want to enroll her in the boarding school. Why? Because I want her to be coming from home. It's very costly coming from home. In short, it costs me nothing less than 3,000 naira every day.
Every day.
Wow. To go to her school and come back home. But what am I putting in the sacrifice? The sacrifice of knowing who my daughter is going to become. Because I have seen trend of ladies or girls going for boarding school, coming back to be something else. You know, when they finish from the boarding school, immediately they finish the SS3, they enter into JAMB and enter into their institution. You don't know these girls. You don't know them because immediately they finish the WAEC, they pass, they enter into the JAMB, they pass, they enter into university. And you are there, the fact that you are very busy. And you don't know what these girls have acquired from the time she was in school to the point where she's now going to this institution, believing that she's the lady Mary that you know, where when she goes to church with you, you come back, she's still looking very pretty, very gentle, very, you know, innocent, and nothing happened.
That innocent
and that innocent face, that innocent look. I have a sister daughter who got married and the husband returned her home. Why? Because she can't cook, because they discovered so many things after her. And I have learned from that, and I told my God, I will put in this sacrifice. It is because maybe I am a little bit endowed. What happened to parents who don't have such? Who felt that taking their child to school and enrolling her in boarding school will save their money, will save their time, we allow them to to engage in other businesses that they believe they are using to take care of the family. And at the end of the day, what you are taking care of the family, we end up not taking care of you. So these are the pain. Government is not doing anything. We cannot guarantee our boarding schools. What are the facilities there? Do they have the necessary medical facilities? Now that we are complaining of no inadequate doctors, and the only ones that we have are traditional doctors. Are you
we still have medical practitioners in Nigeria.
We don't have enough.
You can't call them, traditional doctors.
Doctors,
there are doctors in the UC.
I said we
don't have enough. In other private
the ones we have are traditional doctors. Government.
What do you mean by traditional doctors?
We have these are traditional doctors, the one that give you the agbo, the mix up of the, this is what is trying.
But there are still hospitals around.
I am not saying there are no hospitals. We have seen governors coming out on air to announce that they are short of doctors. They are short of doctors to take care of the people in the patients. And if you want to put up a boarding school for girls, you should have a medical facility in that place for them. You understand that they do their cycle, and some people do it very early. and their puberty age is very early too.
And awareness.
Awareness needs to be done. They should be counseled at every time, understanding their body structure, how they grow, and the likes, and the danger for them if they engage in anything right now and in the future. So these are the things.
All right, Afolabi, let's go to another topic this morning. And that's a story on the page of the newspaper. And then when you talk about labor, and then you talk about May Day, these are two things that, you know, they are like Siamese twins, they are always together.
Yes.
But then, in the May Day speech, Tinubu pledges to address high living costs, fight corruption. I think a time has come in Nigeria that even Nigerians don't want to hear about we want to fight corruption any longer. There are too many times that they have heard that, and they have not really seen the results. It is only in Nigeria where someone, a former governor, who actually had an issue with the FCC, still currently being probed, collapsed the structure of his state and went to the APC.
And coming out to say that
after he joined the APC, he said, I have no fear of the EFCC, yes, meaning that he's open to being, you know, interrogated and maybe. But then, why didn't he say that before he moved to the APC?
My brother, don't go too far. Remember, a time was when we have the former chairman of the APC, Adam Oshiomhole, who announced publicly that when you join our party, your sins are forgiven.
Yeah.
And this is just the practical word of the statement of what the now Senator Adam Oshiomhole is talking about. So if you join APC, your sins are forgiven. I used to make a very little jokes to friends of mine. I asked them, have you joined APC with your family? Is your dad there right now? Is your wife there? Is your children there? So that you can get your sins forgiven and your needs met. And that is just it.
Now let's go back to the May Day speech by the president.
The president has not made any statements, according to me. Of my opinion.
You mean his speech yesterday was light?
Was not.
It was not content filled.
At all. At all. This is.
What do you expect in this?
Let's talk about this May Day. When you talk about the present wages or salary earned by the government, by the civil servants, is it take home? Can they take that home? 80,000 naira. What can you do in the family? I just gave you a scenario of my own daughter that I sent to secondary school every day. And I paid for our transport fare and every other thing. 3,000. 3 times 5 is 15. In a month is how much? 60,000. So if I don't have 60,000, she can't go to school in a month. So if I happen to be a civil servant and I earn 30,000 naira in a family of 6, myself, my wife, and 4 children, how are we going to cope? She's the only one I'm taking care of. I have a elder ones in that institution. How am I going to cope? Tell me what will happen to me if I work there and I see people who wants to pass some money under the carpet, and I will not want to join them. These are the things that make people to be prone to corruption. The government is not doing. There is nothing that I will talk. And I ask myself, how many people are this government? Engaging. The number of people working right now is the government is not taking care of maybe 2.5%, because we have many entrepreneurs who are daily working on their own. Go to Gbagi there, go to Ogungba there. Go to challenge, see boys, see men, see women working, see people trading, making use of their own money to start their business, finance it, and make it happen. Look at the beautiful organization that we are talking right now. If it has been owned by government, it will not be functioning this way. You have problem in many operations. Maybe a set of this place will not have lights, or people here will already be grumbling and there will be no money paid. And somebody is coming out and telling you that you will stay end corruption. We are all people, all the cabinet, he himself and the people are highly corrupt. If you are not, if you stable, then you are corrupt. There is no other definition for corruption until when you discover that you yourself feel that you cannot be accountable to anybody. Because I'm still waiting for the president to tell us how far he has spent our country, Nigeria money till date. I'm waiting for him to give us details on all the budget, all the project they've done. We all know that Okowa is under probe, and immediately he got the green light to say for you to not be under probe, this is what you do, and you get yourself free. And the collapse said Delta State PDP, and even stand before the Nigeria public to say that he regret joining Atiku and he is now in a sound footing.
All right, Mr. Afolabi, let's look at it. May Day celebration, that's the theme for May Day, was reclaiming the civic space in the midst of economic hardship. Do you think Are you now saying the president's speech does not align with the theme?
What are they claiming? Have you seen anything done? Even the preach.
Why don't we wait till May, till
my
Democracy Day, when it will give a
12th.
speech?
The day, my sister, I pray God bless you.
Amen.
If you happen to be a civil servant and you talk like this, your family will also be, will already be taken charge of by somebody else. So I want to tell you that it is not aligned at all. We are not doing well for our civil servants. We are already making breach and open gaps for corruption every day. Nobody works in the civil servant and wants to wants to be diligent in his or her work. So I
have to go this morning. Afolabi, thank you for joining us this morning.
Well, thank you very much.
It's been a wonderful
so
session
much.
within the studio. We'll do that next time. We have a lot to talk about.
Yes, we do.
There is a lot to unpack on this show.
I'm telling you, my brother.
But then do not forget what the president said, that is going to fight corruption and...
My brother, that's for another day.
Okay.
The show is still Daybreak Live on Dominion Television. Don't forget we have had in the studio this morning Afolabi Afolami, a seasoned public affairs analyst, and with him we have done justice to the major stories on the pages of the newspapers. We're now going a short break.
We'll be back.
Then when we return, we'll link up with Osare Noma Saba Morayoluwa Aketoba for Trend Watch this morning. But then, before then, we go on a short break. We'll be back after this time out.
Okay.
Osare Noma Saba. Good morning.
All right, welcome back from that short break. And then we go straight to the next segment on the show this morning. Don't forget, the show is still Daybreak Live on Dominion Television, your channel of choice, where inspiration meets entertainment. Osare Noma Saba is standing by for Trend Watch this morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. You're looking beautiful.
How are you doing today? You are blushing.
Yes, why not?
So what is happening today? A lot.
Many things are happening. I mean, we always say that, but it's Friday, TGIF, we always bring the vibes. You know, social media is always talking, and it is always loud, right? So we're having like celebratory, you know, stories. We're having a bit of music, and of course, a little bit of drama. So yes, I will say welcome to Trend Watch. On
it is time for you to unpack.
That's right.
All right.
Go ahead.
Thank you.
All right.
All right. So yes, this is where all the gist happens right here on Trend Watch on Dominion Television. Welcome to this edition. My name is Osara Masaba. Most people know me as the Edo Queen, and Fridays are extra special because I do not do this alone. I have Big Mo with me.
How are you doing this morning? What twins this morning?
Sweetie. Lovely. So yeah, starting off with our first story. You know, recently E-Money was just released from the domots of EFCC. It just left the domots of EFCC over, you know, spraying.
Yes.
I mean, it wasn't just Naira, but it was also pounds and dollar notes, right?
Are they not supposed to?
Precisely.
All right.
So, I mean, after the experience, E-Money and Cubana Chief Priest have actually come out to say, you know what, don't spray money, let's just stay clear of EFCC's wahala. Right, so don't spray money, don't spray Naira, don't spray dollars, don't spray pounds, because they've had their own experience. And Cubana Chief Priest was also like, you know what, we usually spray money to show how we're flexing and enjoying.
Definitely.
It's just nice when somebody's just doing tune. Come on, let's spray, come on. I mean, it's always like great when you know, money is being sprayed. So Cubana Chief Priest was like, you know what, he's going to figure out another way for them to flex and enjoy, you know, at events without getting into the trouble of EFCC. So
I know they've said, you know, they can, you know, put it into like a bag or a bowl or something that's there. But where's the fun in that?
Where's the fun, right?
But when the money is
great. But I know at some point when the initial this law came out, people started printing
their own money. Yes.
So I don't know why that's probably not the case anymore. I don't know
it's
if
not as fun.
Oh well.
Because why are you packing money that is not?
It's not you that pack it now.
It doesn't matter. But like, what's the point of? Well. Let's read E-Money statements.
Let's take comments.
Anyways.
All right. So why haven't people this English, sir? Doing spapping, this is your English. Why haven't someone already started printing sprayable notes that aren't a legal tender? Like, yes, just like
I know that they used to transfer whatever it is they wanted to spray to the celebrant of the day.
Yes.
And then they would spray the fake money
so that they don't get into trouble. But oh well. Let's see the next comment.
Sunny Eweni says, if not for eye service, if you truly love the person, why can't you just request for his account number and send it instead of spraying? There's no fun in that. Why would I go to a party, you transfer, oh, happy birthday, give your account details, take the money. There's no fun in that.
But the truth is, if you even want to go the route of, okay, send the money instead, people might actually not send because they might even forget or...
Exactly. You know, I feel like it's just more fun
to just...
But people should listen to EFCC, please. All right, let's take a look at the next comment.
I think final comments. I think that one talks about aside... Okay, yes.
Okay,
this is from
it's a whole read, yes.
Well, essentially, she's saying like EFCC should actually intimate us more about what the offense is. Is it just spraying the money or mutilating? What about squeezing the money or stepping on it as well? So we're not sure. Is it that we should not spray the money or we should not step on the money? What about actually like squeezing or rumpling the money? Because then we see situations where, you know, people are almost even tearing the currency. So what exactly is the issue? But I mean, if you have money to spray, don't spray. Just bring it for us. Bring it for me.
They should come and give you the money.
Just give it to me.
Save yourself, my sister. All right, moving on to the next story this morning. We have Obi Cubana's wife who has graduated with a master's degree.
Correct.
After 5 children. I love this.
Love it too.
I'm so happy about this. You know, it just comes to show that there's really no limitation. If you put your mind to it, you can definitely do it. I know, proud husband, didn't even miss his words.
It was loud.
Lavished his wife with praises on the internet. Let's take a look at what he said. This is a lot.
Sure, you can pronounce it.
I can't pronounce my sister.
Myself, I can't. Obadiah. Opatas, where you one.
Lush wine Oma. This my baby bagged a distinction in international business management, MSc, from the prestigious University of Surrey. And today, 1st of May, is her graduation day. We are celebrating it today, my baby. All May and all year, Biko. See, it didn't even limit it to just this month. The whole year. Love it. Help me type congratulations, Lush, for this beautiful mom of 5. Beauty and brains personified. This is a proud husband. And I'm happy to see that, you know, Nigerian men are doing
the Lord's work
Yes,
now.
yes.
You know, celebrating their wives, giving them the opportunity to, you know, be them, do what they want to do. Okay, let's take a look at some of the comments on social media. Sarah Bell Gift Hub says, Nigerians, the scream and jubilation was different. I love this for her. Congratulations, ma'am. If there should be a video where, you know, she was, they called her name.
All the battalion of children.
They called her name and the screams.
You will know
Nigerians were there.
You definitely will know.
Definitely. Let's take a look at the next comment.
Okay, dyslexia literacy expert says, wow, I love this. This would serve as a good reference point for the children I teach in the diaspora, that there's no end to learning.
Definitely.
Yes, there's really no end to learning.
And you can always learn and learn,
you know,
and learn.
just like you said, it's great that, you know, the husband is supporting, because sometimes you see when people are like, oh, I need like my wife or my partner to like be done with school, attain certain heights. You know, there's no threats here, and you know, it's a mutual celebration.
Yes.
So yes, I mean, moving away from celebration on academics, we have yes.
This Daniel.
Exactly. Thank you very much for
Black
that.
Bones.
And Black Bones.
I've come out with a new jam.
Yes.
And, you know, the song is titled Follow Her.
So Word on the Streets is, it's another banger. So, I mean, because it's Friday, we usually would enjoy
want to give you something to enjoy for the weekend.
Precisely. So just listen to the song and, of course, let us know what you think. After the hustle and bustle of the week, it's good to always relax.
Definitely.
You know,
also,
at the
you
end
know,
of the week.
all the stories we've given this morning, you can drop a comment. What do you think on these stories? You can drop a comment in the comment section or on our social media. Let's know what you think about this.
Yes. So, yes, I think we'll say it's a wrap.
It's a wrap.
We don't want to go, but what can we do?
We have to let you go.
All good things must come to an end. So, yes, back to Samson and Pat in the studio.
All right, Osare and Murayo, the major story I picked from what you have this morning is the issue of spraying money at parties. You know, I know it's eye service where you say you want to spray money, but hey, that's the fun.
Right?
Exactly.
But unfortunately, the law frowns at it.
Spray.
Unfortunately, the law frowns at it. Even if you want to glorify it and use your money gun, it's still not proper under the law. So it means that we need to keep sensitizing the people on what exactly
we don't want more people in EFCC custody over this.
All right. Thank you for being a part of the show this morning.
Thank you for having us.
Bye for
now.
Bye.
Don't spray money. It's Friday.
Don't go spray money. All right, that was our Trend Watch on Dominion Television. The show is still Daybreak Live, and then what we do now is this issue of spraying money at at parties. It has been a trend that has been around for long, and I think the fact that they are clamping down on mostly celebrities now to make sure that we don't spray money in parties, and then if you are going to spray money, you do it the right way. Probably get a box. I think I have seen some musicians who now have a customized box now. So if you want to spray money, don't touch me. Just put the money in the box. And some come with baskets. So it means that there are proper ways of doing it. And I saw a musician who actually went as far as creating his own notes. His picture is on the note in different denominations, mints. I don't know how he did it, but then what he does is, if you want to spray money, his secretary comes to you, you transfer money to him, and gives you that dummy note. So that's what you spray at the party.
Great.
That was really interesting for me to see, and in fact I went to anchor that event and I was like, wow, this is a very big one. But then that also comes at a cost for someone who is going to. It's only big artists that can actually afford to do that, because that actually costs money. But hey, if that is what you have to do to make sure you don't get embarrassed by the EFCC,
I feel one way or the other we're getting there, because whatever it is that they will always say, this is how we do it, this is how we do it. But now let's do it in a proper way, and everything will just be fine. We'll always want to have a good Nigeria, and we'll do it together.
Follow the rules and do the right thing. I think with that, you'll be free from the EFCC. All right, that will be the part where we link up with Tolu and Paul Abe. And then we'll talk sports this morning. There was a flurry of goals in the Conference League and the UEFA Europa League yesterday. Manchester United, out of nowhere, got so many goals. Even the red card actually helped them. But then Chelsea, away from home, you say they're actually into the final, 4-1. That was massive. I think the English teams, even Tottenham Hotspur, did really well in the
Toluwani, up my.
I'm not a Manchester United fan, but I would say up Man U.
At least you celebrate with us now.
Okay, I would, being the only team in European football, not to lose this season in the European scene. So I think is good to say up Manchester United.
Oh, Toluwani just had a little smile. Oh, hey, that's fine. That's up my you. All right, good morning.
Up by you to you. All right, thank you so much, Pat, and also Sam Sin. A good morning once again, and welcome to Dominion Daybreak Sports, right here on your channel of choice, Dominion Television. I am Abe Paul Toluwanimi, and pretty soon we'll be moving straight down into action with the local scene. I'll be looking at what is happening right here in the local scene. And this morning, we're starting off with the President Federation Cup quarterfinals game, where we have Abakaliki. They're going to welcome Nasarawa United right there in the President Federation Cup today. Also by 4 p.m., Wiki Torres are also going to welcome Ikorodu City, also by 4 p.m. right there in the quarterfinal of the President's Federation Cup. Also, we have Aqua United against Kwara United right there in Nnamdi Azikiwe Stadium. That's where the game is going to be played today. And also, Plateau United are also going to welcome Rangers International FC. That's the game coming up right there in the President Federation Cup today. Moving away from that, yesterday was a beautiful game for the Flying Eagles, playing the competition right there in Egypt under 20 AFCON. And they went ahead to pick up a victory right there in the 38th minute of that game against Tunisia. What a game to go. Ibrahim Awal got the goal right there. The only goal to see, the Flying Eagles get all 3 points in that beautiful encounter. Away from that, also the Man of the Match award was given to Awal Ibrahim right there for getting that goal for the Flying Eagles. Also, we're going to look at the result of that game. Like I said, the May 1st, yesterday, the Flying Eagles picked up the victory, 3 points, and a fight back for Morocco to win that game against Kenya, 3-2. Remember that these two teams, or these 4 teams, are in the same group, for the AFCON right there under 20. And looking at the group standing right now, it shows that Morocco are leading with a 3 point on the table, followed through by the Flying Eagles of Nigeria on the same 3 points right there. Kenya with 0 points after losing that game to Morocco, 3-2. And also Tunisia also losing the game to the Flying Eagles of Nigeria, 1-0. Moving away from that, away from the local scene, we're heading straight down to the Formula One. We're heading straight down to the Formula One, where we see the Formula One takes over Miami, with a sprint weekend at the Hard Rock Stadium. That's the game coming up right there, the Grand Prix, and we're expecting to see, back-to-back action, the practice, and also the sprint qualifiers happening right there. And remember, all eyes are going to be on Max and also McLaren, Lando, and Oscar to see how far they can go right there in the Miami Grand Prix. So we're expecting so much action, qualifying the practice, and we're expecting so much, to happen right there at the Miami Grand Prix. So keep your eyes fixed, for this one this weekend. Moving away from that, we're heading straight down to the world of tennis. Away from that, we're heading straight down to the world of tennis, where the very own over in Madrid, the claim is out for Aryna Sabalenka. She's going to face Coco Gauff in a thrilling WTA final, and the prize money is heavy. We're talking 1 million euros in prize money to be won right there. Remember, Coco Gauff, did something fantastic, just yesterday, defeating the defending champion, Iga Swiatek, right there from the Madrid Open with a commanding 6-1, 6-1 to win the set at 2-1 right there, for Coco Gauff. So she's going to play Sabalenka right there to see how far, she can go on the clay. Moving away from that, also, we have the semi-final Madrid, where Serralando is going to take on Rude, and also Draper is going to take on Musetti right there in the finals of the ATP. So I think you need to keep your eyes fixed on this Madrid, clay turf right there, the semi-final stage. And, trust us, we're going to be giving you back-to-back updates, as the game is ongoing right here. Moving away from that, we're heading straight down into the games, for yesterday. And it's a massive one in the basketball advanced stage for the Eastern semi-final stage, where the beautiful game was played yesterday in basketball. Detroit Pistons, lost to New York Knicks, 113-116. And yesterday, New York Knicks already advanced, by defeating 4-2 right there in the 6th series. And also Los Angeles Clippers, 101 to 105 right there to Denver Nuggets. So, you know, the playoff is advancing and we are seeing, you know, good things happen. Just let me inform you that Lakers are out of the series. And, you know, it's sad to see the likes of LeBron James, you know, are not being part of the players' advanced stage to the semifinal stage. But this is the update coming through. The New York Knicks are already through, you know, through the semifinal stage of the Eastern Conference, you know, right there in the world of basketball. Moving away from the world of basketball, we're going to go straight into the world of football. Yesterday was fantastic, where we saw Tottenham Hotspur defeat Bodo Glimt right there at, you know, in England at 3-1. Bernard Johnson with a goal, and also James Maddison and Dominic Solanke, you know, getting the goal right there for Tottenham Hotspur. Athletic Club lost to Manchester United, and trust me, it's amazing to see how far Manchester United are doing, you know, this season in European football. But one thing that's going to strike me, and I'm sure, you know, it's going to be an amazing thing to watch, because if we see Tottenham Hotspur and Manchester United at the final, it's going to be an amazing one to watch. Remember, these two teams are really struggling right now in the Premier League. Manchester United sitting 14 on the table and Tottenham Hotspur sitting 16 on the table. I remember that Ange Postecoglou, you know, spoke about, you know, in my second season, I usually win titles. So let's see how far, you know, these two managers can go, you know, this season. Also, in the Conference League, Real Betis have defeated Fiorentina, but it's all to do in the second leg. Remember the GOAT himself, Anthony, you know, getting on the score sheets right there for Real Betis. Also, Chelsea won that game 4-1 to Jurgen Gardem right there away from home. Moving away from that, the Premier League is just 1 win in 5 games for Nottingham Forest, and it's not looking too good for Nottingham Forest. Remember, they're trying to fight, you know, for the Champions League ticket this season, and it's not looking too good for them. They're sitting 6th on the log table right there in the Premier League. The game ended in favor of Brentford. Looking at the table, like you know already, Liverpool crowned champions, Arsenal second, Newcastle, Manchester City, Chelsea, and Nottingham Forest, after losing that game, still sitting 6th on the table with a 60 point. They have it all to do till the end of the season. Moving away from that, we're heading straight down into the Premier League fixtures coming thick and faster this weekend. Manchester City are going to welcome Wolverhampton Wanderers. Everton are going to welcome Ipswich Town. Leicester City already relegated with another relegated club, Southampton. Aston Villa against Fulham. Arsenal against Bournemouth. Also on Sunday, we have Brentford against Manchester United, Brighton against Newcastle, we have West Ham against Tottenham, Chelsea against Liverpool. I remember that's going to be a guard of honor. Remember, Liverpool are champions already, and I'm sure Chelsea fans would not want to see, you know, their team give a guard of honor to Liverpool. But that's what hard work, you know, can pull for you. Also, moving away from that, the La Liga is, you know, thick and fast. And remember, FC Barcelona are still looking like a team who can go for the quadruple. Remember that the game is going to start off with Rayo Vallecano against Getafe, Deportivo Alaves against Atletico Madrid, Villarreal against Osasuna, Las Palmas against Valencia, Real Valladolid. The fans are really having issues with the president. I'm talking about Ronaldo Nazario right there. They're going to welcome FC Barcelona. Real Madrid against Celta Vigo, Sevilla against Leganes, Arsenal Espanyol against Real Betis, Real Sociedad against Athletic Club, and we're going to have Girona against Real Mallorca. Moving away from the La Liga fixtures, we're going to go straight down to Serie A, where the battle is still very much ongoing between Napoli and Inter Milan. And trust me, you also want to keep your eyes on these Serie A fixtures this weekend. Torino are going to welcome Venezia, Cagliari are going to welcome Udinese, Parma against Como. Trust me, Cesc Fabregas is doing something fantastic with this club. You know, Como just getting back into the Serie A last season. Lecce against Napoli, a must-win game away from home for Napoli. Inter Milan, a must-win game also. Remember, they lost the last game to Roma, and they must win this one to see how far they can go, you know, against Napoli for the title. Also on Sunday, Empoli are going to welcome Lazio, AC Monza are going to welcome Atalanta. Also, AS Roma against Fiorentina, Bologna against the Old Ladies of Turin, Juventus and Girona against AC Milan. Those are the games coming thick and fast right there in the Serie A fixtures. Also, the Bundesliga, I think we can say it's done and dusted already, because we're going to see Harry Kane finally lift his first title, of his career right there. These are the fixtures coming thick and faster right there in the German Bundesliga. Borussia Dortmund against VB Wolfsburg, and also St. Pauli against Stuttgart, RB Leipzig against Bayern and Munich, also Borussia Mönchengladbach against Hoffenheim. Those are the games that are coming through right there in the Bundesliga fixtures right there in Germany, match week 32. Moving away from that, also the French League 1, let's say it's finally done and dusted, but PSG were hoping that they would go unbeaten this season, but they lost their last fixtures to Nice, OGC Nice right there, in the League 1 fixtures last week. But the games also, OGC Nice are going to kick off, today to Stade Reims, also Strasbourg against Paris Saint-Germain, Toulouse to Stade Reims, and also Saint-Etienne against AS Monaco. And also on Sunday, Nantes are going to welcome Angers, OG Auxerre against Le Havre, and also Stade Brest against Montpellier. That's the games coming thick and fast right here in the French League 1. That'll be all today on Dominion Sports. I am Paul Toluwanimi. Over to Samson and Pat.
All right, Oluwani, that was really interesting there. Quite a number of interesting fixtures for the weekend. And the most striking one is the battle to win the Italian Serie A between Napoli and, of course, Inter Milan. Inter Milan seemed to have gotten their grip on the title, a few big weeks back. But then the slump in performances actually, brought them where they are now, where they have to. It has to go down the wire before they know who actually wins, the Italian Serie A. But then away from there, Manchester United or Tottenham Hotspur, one of them might just pick one of the Champions League spots for the season. And that will affect a team like Nottingham Forest that has done so well over the season, and now currently they are in the top 5 or top 6 in the EPL, meaning that despite all the performances, they just might not play in the UEFA Champions League. And that's a dream, because it's been a long time they played in the Champions League.
I think for me it's going to be a sad one for Nottingham Forest with the hard work, and you know what we say about hard work. It should pay, but it's not looking like that right now for Nottingham Forest. And for Manchester United or Tottenham Hotspur being in the final, I think is a must-win game, most especially for Tottenham Hotspur, because if Ange Postecoglou, the manager, does not pick up the tickets, and also the trophy, most likely is going to be sacked, from the job for Tottenham Hotspur. So a must-win game for both managers, and trust me, I'm sure Arsenal fans will be sad to see that you can work hard and not get anything. Imagine a Manchester United sitting 14 on the table, or Tottenham Hotspur sitting 16 on the table. I remember their rivals. I'm talking about Tottenham Hotspur and Arsenal, and Tottenham Hotspur going ahead to pick up a trophy this season. I think it's going to be a sad one for Arsenal, but not taking anything away from the Gunners. Remember also they're still in the Champions League, second leg, to see how far they can go.
They still have a lot to play for.
Come on, a big one for them. So let's see how far.
All right, thank you, Toluwani, for being a part of the show this morning.
Thank you so much.
That was Daybreak Sport with Toluwani Paul Hape on Dominion Television. Daybreak Live is still the show, but unfortunately we have to go this morning. Don't forget, Friday is a proof that we survived the week. Celebrate your progress, celebrate your wins, no matter how little they seem. Samson Adoluwapo Balogun is mine. Until next week, we meet again. Bye for now. Stay safe.
Well, I have to say goodbye, but then always know that Friday sees more smiles than any of the week. So, see you on Monday. Good morning.